It is Sunday, June the 11th, 2023. Let's continue with part two of Move Mountains, Break Barriers. Let's go.
They counting this out. Just check the history. Know that the system can't stop us. The paper they count came from the blood, sweat, and tears of our people. The pivot, scream greatness and shout. Hate our existence, but really, yet truly, we hold all the power, no route. Brace yourselves when we amount, cause we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces. Know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters in arms, of the power be limitless. DNA royal, not menaces.
This show represents the opinions of the host and his guests. The content here should not be taken solely as medical advice. This show is for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare provider or professional for additional information and follow-up.
My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That fact that matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see.
What's up, y'all? It is Sunday. There is no game tonight, so we don't have to worry about competing with the NBA, which we already know who's going to win based off of what we've seen the last few games. We'll leave it at that. But no, y'all. What's up, fellas? What's up, everyone? This is Thomas Davis here, all the way from the DMV. Just saying thank you so much for tuning in and supporting Simply Me. This is the last show of this season, and I wanted to end this season with a bang, and what better way to end it by celebrating the brothers, celebrating the men. As we know, here in June, we have a lot of celebrations that takes place in the month of June. First of all, we celebrate Men's Health Month. We celebrate this in the month of June. We celebrate you men. Let's go get our bodies checked. Let's go get our physical check, our mental check, everything checked. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Also in the month of June, we celebrate Pride Month. We want to be respectful of those who make life choices and decisions to live their life peacefully. So we celebrate you. And lastly, we celebrate the fathers. The fathers, y'all. Father's Day is coming up on next Sunday. Happy early Father's Day. We salute our dads. And I have a surprise, y'all. He's going to kill me because he don't know how I was going to do this. But one of our panelists has an upcoming birthday next week. So we want to give Rashawn a happy early birthday shout out. Brother, I love you and have a wonderful birthday as you enter into your new year, your new life, and your new expectations to take us on higher heights. Thank you, brother, so much for all that you do. Look, if you are watching us for the first time, I want you to like and share this broadcast. Let us know where you are watching from. Let us know that you're here. We want you to engage with us. We want you to give us feedback. We want you to chime in and let us know. Also, I personally want you to continue to follow all of Limitless Possibilities platforms by following us on Instagram, which is Limitless Outcomes. You can follow us on YouTube, which is Limitless Possibilities LLC. You can also check us out on Facebook, which is Limitless Possibilities, and on LinkedIn, which is Thomas Davis LPC. Whew, that's a lot. And lastly, Twitter. You can find us on the good Twitter, which is Limitless, the number 1, the number 4, and the letter U. Yes, I am on a roll tonight. I am energetic. I have had an opportunity, y'all, to have an amazing weekend. On yesterday, I sat on a panel to discuss men's health and the importance of discussing the social determinants of health. And on today, I had an opportunity to serve and support 2 high schools as they have graduated their class of 2023. So we have any graduates that is listening tonight and that are online. Shout out your school. Shout out your major. We want to celebrate you as well. Congratulations, class of 2023. Now that we've done all of this stuff, I'm going to bring on all of the panelists at one time so we can continue the discussion from part 1. I also want to say to our listening audience, thank you so much for giving us feedback, for giving us quotes, sharing with us, engaging with us. It was very phenomenal. And on behalf of the panelists and myself, we salute you for all that you continue to do. Let's get this show started. Like and share this broadcast, and let's begin the discussion. What's up? Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, my friend and brother. How are we doing?
I'm amazing. What's up, Herm? How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you feeling, my brother?
I'm blessed. What's up, John? What's up, John? What's up, Terrence? What's up, Justin? Hey, Donnell. What's up, sir?
What's happening?
Let me tell you something. With you, sir, we never know what we're going to get when you log on.
Absolutely. As it should be.
Hey, it is what it is. Are y'all ready for the discussion tonight?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
I do want to say thank you all again from the bottom of my heart. You guys poured into me so much, and I had an opportunity to speak with the producer of all of my entities, Miss Jasmine, and I gave her some great feedback. So don't be surprised. She is preparing some clips that you will be seeing being on social media, giving you your credit and giving you your shine, because without you, we would have not been in power. So thank you all so much for being on the show again for part 2. All right, so I just want to just really start off by just having a conversation again. This is no script. This is just a conversation that we're just going to have as brothers, as men. When we talk about men's health, right, we talk about the importance of mental health a lot, but we also don't necessarily talk about the physical piece of it. And Brashawn, on last show, you talked about the importance of us controlling our physical just as well as we need to be in control of our mental. Can you just give us the importance of us being in control of our physical bodies?
You know, I think that one of the things that we really don't, as men, really don't know how to do is we don't know how to take care of ourselves holistically. I know for myself, I was getting being a person on this panel who's in his late 40s, I have to be more in tune with every aspect of my body, because both of my grandfathers both died at prostate cancer in their early 60s. So I have to check in and be more in tune. One of the greatest gifts that I gave to myself last year was the gift of a personal trainer, and it wasn't so that I can get a 6-pack, which I haven't received yet. But really want really bad, worse than a Ferrari. But it was so that I could live longer, so that I could be around to still have a safe place to be able to put my stress, and to be able to be in a place so that we can be the best person that we can be on the inside and out. So that was a priority I had to make, and I know that there's some other folk who are out there and who are on this panel that have had to do the same.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to jump to Herman. Herman is an athletic director here in the district, and I know he empower our young people, the importance of sleep, the importance of being able to drink water, and making sure that you do the things that you need to do in order to be successful out on the field. Herman, can you just share with us, like, why is men's health important, even in our young people? Why is this so important?
Absolutely. So I try to get my students, as well as like the clients that I work with in my mental health, in the mental health realm, to understand that health is a holistic approach, as Brashawn just said. So it doesn't start just with your mental, it's your physical, it's your spiritual, it's your financial, all of those parts, all of those things tie into your overall wealth. And when one of those things are off, it'll subside something else. Right. You know what I mean? I notice if I'm not getting enough sleep, if I'm not drinking enough water, if I'm not eating right, all of those things can play a part in my overall physical health. And as far as my students are concerned, a lot of them eat, the curry-outs, the Chick-fil-A's, the McDonald's, by circumstance, some by just because they just don't like school lunch, go for a good bit. Right. All of those things I think contribute to, the overall health of, the student athlete.
Right. Right. That's good. That's good, because somebody needs to hear that. Like, stop going to the carry-out, getting your 3-piece with mumbo sauce.
Oh man!
And your half.
It'd be so good though, man.
Yo, right.
You have it too, though, my
Listen,
especially when you craving something like that. Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the better it tastes, the worse it is for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen.
We gotta stop talking about carry-outs because they don't got them out here in Cali like that. So we gotta move on.
All right. So when we talk about men's health, as we are celebrating Men's Health Awareness this month and the importance of it, one of the things is keeping our bodies checked. And Rashawn started with talking about cancer screens, and we also got to make sure that we keep our blood pressure checked. We got to make sure that we checking our cholesterol, checking our sugar levels, checking all of those things. John, can you just please chime in and just give us some thoughts around this?
Absolutely. I mean, knowing your numbers is really important, especially because a lot of us deal with family, like, Brashawn mentioned your grandfathers, and the men in my family have had diabetes generations back, right? And so knowing that and understanding that I had to be better about, knowing my numbers. And a lot of times, like you said, we don't know how to take care of ourselves. And so we often just wait until something hurts. We wait until something is like, and not even just that it hurts, we wait until it's in its worst state to get it, checked out. I have a very close friend of mine who passed away a couple of years ago. And I remember it was one of those things where everyone kept saying he needs to get checked. And unfortunately waited until it was too late. Right. So I think it's important for us to be better stewards of the bodies that we have. There's so much that we want to accomplish. There's so much that we want to do. And I know that and understand that sometimes we try to put that ahead of our health, not understanding that if we don't put our health first, we're not going to be able to accomplish those things, to get those things done, or to live long enough to see the fruits of those things. And that's why it's important for us to understand our numbers, to check in with our professionals regularly, to know how we're doing and to know what we need to do to improve our quality of life and to live a long, healthy life.
I love it. So Justin, as we're talking about men's health, and I am taking some time to discuss this because we as men, we don't like to go to the doctor, right? And when we talk about colon cancer, I sat on a panel yesterday and I attended an event, and I learned that for Black males, colon cancer is happening at an earlier age. So Justin, really talk to us, and just if you were to talk to someone that was kind of like, I don't know if I really should go, how would you encourage that person to tap into being comfortable with going and get those screenings?
I mean, you have to first understand that, that your body, you only get one body, and it's your responsibility to make sure that it's working properly. It's just like just like gears in a clock. When one messes up, you're going to have to replace that one to make the other ones work. Well, in this case, I mean, you only get one body, and it's hard to get that body part or organ, whatever you need to make sure that that body works. You need to make sure that your body works perfectly. But I mean, to encourage someone, just let them know that, hey, this could actually save your life. Right. You know what I mean? I know for me, for my family, my dad was real hard on like not going to the doctor. I'll be okay. Trying to be Superman and not getting himself checked out like he was supposed to, and end up having, a lot of, medical issues sometimes. For me, I know that if something doesn't feel right, I'm not afraid to go to the doctor. I'm like, look, something doesn't feel right. Schedule an appointment for a doctor. Let's find out what this is so that way we can fix it or try to maintain it as best we can. Because, I feel as though that, especially colon cancer, it's a very deadly disease. And the last thing you want to do is wait till the last minute to get that taken care of. And it could have been taken care of a long time.
Right. And thank you so much, Justin, for sharing it. We also have a lot of other silent killers, right? And Terrence, I'm looking at you, and I want you to really talk about, from an emotional standpoint, what are some of those other silent killers, like anxiety and being overwhelmed and some of those things? Talk to us, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, there are, like you said, like there's also high blood pressure, like anxiety, depression, and a lot of these are like what I would consider like silent epidemics because they're not often talked about or much less publicized.
Right.
And since we're talking about men's health, and given that it's the month of June, I know we just tackled like things like colon cancer, which is what unfortunately took people like Chadwick Boseman from us, but also
Yes.
there's also the flip side of it on the mental side with depression, where I don't have the numbers handy on me, but depression tends to hit people of color, especially Black men, the hardest because we're the least likely to reach out for medical or clinical services when they're necessary.
Right.
For example, we're the last to seek out medical attention. We're also the last among the last to seek out like mental health care services as well. And so that could lead to things such as like substance abuse, alcohol abuse, depression, and even suicide. And
Right.
so it's important. I'm glad that we're having this conversation, which hopefully spurs into future conversations and encouragement for more Black men or men of color to kind of reach out and kind of take things more seriously and be more proactive about how we take care of ourselves. Because I agree with what the fellas have said up to this part, far as that, hey, we only get one body, so once it starts to decline, like there's not too much that can be done other than manage what's going on. When a lot of stuff that we go through is very preventable. Now,
Right.
also, the fact of the matter is that health is just not one dimensional. It's not just physical. It's not just mental. It's several key components, like including like I think someone said like financial, spiritual, as well as like just as well as interpersonal as well.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we are a social species, and we can be our own worst enemies when it comes to reaching out for help because we're so conditioned to believe that it's a form of weakness to do so, when in reality that's a fallacy.
Right. I love that. And you hit a great point, which leads me to my next question. But before we do it, there is a comment in the chat, and there is a comment that says sometimes life insurance is higher for men because they do not go to the doctor. Let me tell you, this is so true. I had a friend tell me that they was trying to get insurance for their home in case something were to happen to them. And they went and they got tested. And they told them that they didn't have nothing wrong with them, that they were good. And the person was like, are you sure? Have you smoked? Have you did drugs, etc.? So they came and did a home test, and they detected that nicotine was in their system, and it caused their rates to go up extremely high, which changed the premium. And I am making this point to go with what I see here in the chat, because this is very key. What we don't realize sometimes as brothers, what we do for fun and what we do at our early age, it impacts us when we grow up a little bit and we become mature. And you are absolutely right, Gianni. Life insurance will go higher because of us as men not going to the doctor because of their word, pride. All right, so let's talk about the whole man. Damil, when we think about the whole physical makeup of a man, what do you think about and what comes to your mind when we think of what makes us us?
That's a really good question. So I think outside of just our natural build and our natural makeup, I think that it comes down to how we carry ourselves, like our demeanor, our body language, our stature, right? Like especially if you are bigger or if you are like more muscular or taller, right? So for myself, I'm 6'1", 230. I'm just naturally built, so I have to keep in mind physically that like I can be intimidating to a lot of people, not just because of anything else other than just my stature, and that alone is a mental health thing where it's like, hey, like I constantly got to be on guard of myself. I have to control my body. I got to make sure my body language isn't too aggressive, because then it's just like, oh, well, you're very like raw. It's like, nah, I'm just me. I also think it comes down to the fact of our like we were talking about health, just like the physical appearance of how we present ourselves. Like how do we groom ourselves? How do we show that there's a proper way? I wouldn't say proper, right? There's a better way to address social norms by just using yourself. Like, are we groomed? Do you take care of yourself? Are your, especially your hands, like do your hands look well? Or, your beard or whatever trimmed up? And just keeping those things in your mind.
Thank you. Yo, fellas, Damil talked about his height and his build. So I think that's why he came in to show that the way that he is, because he tried to prove a point indirectly. But we're gonna move on.
Yo, I can't.
I'm moving. That was.
In all fairness, it was no dress code.
Oh, right. I gotta change that up. All right. So I want to talk about this quote that I saw this on Instagram, and I'm going to start with Rashawn, and then I'm going to hand it off to John to tap into this. There was a quote that I saw, and I thought it was so profound. And the quote says, this is the quote: when you desire new outcomes in your life, old patterns have to break up with you. When you hear that, and we talking about coming out of silence, moving forward, freedom, men's health, all of that, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
I think discipline is the number one thing that I constantly think about, because one of the things that I've learned that as I get older is I learned the value of discipline when I started watching people who weren't as talented and weren't as committed to things as I was go farther. And the only thing that a lot of times that separated me from them was the fact that they were a lot more focused and they were a lot more disciplined. That's very difficult for people like me. I have a learning disability known as ADHD. So things that might be easier for other people tend to be very much a challenge for me. So I tend to have to focus on that a little bit more. I tend to have to spend more money to help people, to have people to help me with things. Like I have to pay for someone to help me clean my house and to do these things, because these things are challenging for me. But I think all of us have to understand that discipline is important, and for those of us who have trouble with it, you have to be okay with outsourcing, and maybe not going to Dubai and maybe not going to Thailand, and redo your budget so that you can get some help to keep you focused. I have a virtual assistant because, as you all know, I have about 3 different lives, all up in the air all at one time, and I can't stop. But I do have to have help. So I think that when you start talking about that, you have to get help sometime, because when while we are all capable, and some things are easier for you than others, you have to not be afraid to get help.
Love that. Thank you, Rashawn. John, when we talk about new outcomes in our lives, that it requires us to have to break up with something or someone, what does that mean to you?
I mean, for me, it's thinking about this idea, the art of letting go. You have to move on from these things, because otherwise it's going to keep you in the same place, right? And we don't often think about how mentally taxing it is to be in the same place over and over again, especially when you realize that the reason you're in that same place is because you have not changed, right? Sometimes I think about the fact that we pray, oh God, change this situation, change the situation. And sometimes we realize that God hasn't changed the situation because God's trying to change us, right? To help us to see the situation differently, to attack the situation differently. And so when it comes to, letting go of certain things, I think for me, in addition to what Rashawn said about discipline, I think it's that determination, right? It's that determination to say, I actually do have the ability to see something different, to change a pattern, to change a lifestyle, to change something that is not working for me, because I'm the one working it, right? And I need to make the decision. Today is the day I'm not going to do this anymore, right? Now, I got to give myself permission, because oftentimes when we're in these cycles and we hop back into it, shortly after we make that big declaration, right? It's that whole, I'm going to start my diet on Monday. I'm going to go to the gym on Monday. You go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you don't go. And then you don't go the rest of the week, and you then go in this kind of downward spiral, right? Mm-hmm. You got to give yourself grace in that, and understand that change happens gradually. But as long as you're determined to make a change and figure out what is it that you need to do to make that change, how do you gain that discipline? For me, I think it can actually be encouraging once you see one thing, even if it's a small thing shift and change in your life, that can prompt you to then think of other things that can change, understanding that you have the ability to make things happen and to move in a different direction.
I love it. I love that. I'm gonna go to Herman, and then I'm gonna tap in Terrence to this from a therapist standpoint. I sit in your office, Mr. Frazier, and I say, I want to change so bad, but I'm just so scared to change. And I realize that there are some old patterns that I have to break up with. I have to break up with my self-doubt. I have to break up with my insecurities. I have to sometimes break up with me. I am your patient. What would you say to me, sir?
Hearing you ask that question and putting my therapist hat on, right? The term cognitive dissonance comes to mind. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the term cognitive dissonance. So, and I feel like I always got like I don't want to sound preachy or nothing like that, but I like to educate my clients using psychopathology. So with cognitive dissonance, that's usually when, in layman's terms, where you have two thoughts that are your thoughts, and they very valid thoughts, but they contradict you. They contradict each other. And I would tell my client in full transparency that it's okay to have contradicting thoughts.
Yes.
If you are aware of them, I acknowledge them, identify them, and willing to make the change gradually. And Brashawn said something last time that we met. Set a goal, like, you know what I mean? Like, set a goal. Like, you know, you don't got to tackle it in one day, not 1 month, not 1 year. Set a goal. So if a goal is I want to do such and such twice a week for the next 3 months, like, do that. You don't have to like tackle everything in one whop. So that's what I would tell the client, you know, if they pose that question.
Love that. Thank you so much. Now to Terrence, I'm your client, and I see the other side, but I don't want to break up with it because I have become complacent. I'm scared of what's going to happen. I'm scared of what can happen that can be new. How would you empower me to learn to let go?
Well, there's a couple different paths I'll probably take, but my main go-to would be to kind of touch on little pull from DBT or dialectical behavioral therapy, where the brother before me mentioned something about cognitive dissonance and how like we tend to kind of mentally ride over having two seemingly opposite thoughts or feelings occur. And so when it comes to like the fear of changing, my go-to to try to explore about, okay, so what is this fear, you know, causing you to stay comfortable with, and what actually has that yielded for you that has helped you to grow. And then I would challenge, you know, you in this case to kind of think of, okay, you've been shying away from this because staying here makes you feel comfortable,
right?
Which is fine. I mean, I get it. You know, fear can be a source of survival at times, but in this situation, what are you trying to survive from? What is your fear illustrating? Like, because one philosophy I go by is fear is a liar. It's false evidence appearing real. And so when we think about, like, you know, what are the things that we're too scared to do, the things that we overthink about, you know, and then we try to take a more of an objective view about it. Okay, so you're afraid to go to the doctor. Like, for example, you're afraid to go to the doctor because you think that they're going to tell you something's wrong with you. Okay, granted that there's a chance that could happen, but you won't know for sure unless you actually put yourself in a situation, if you actually follow through with the test. Now, when it comes to exploring, like, you know, the fear, like, okay, so is it really worth, you know, allowing your fear to keep you comfortable, and something ends up happening anyway, or you get to a point where you're so stagnant, you feel a sense of hopelessness that you can't move forward? Or do you take it upon yourself, do you owe it to yourself rather, to say, you know what, I've stayed in this bubble for this long, and I've not gotten to anywhere that I've really wanted. I thought that, you know, letting fear kind of keep me from what I felt was danger, like a false illusion of danger, you know, keep me from experiencing that. But in reality, if I'm still here, you know, I don't feel any better. So maybe if I explore this a little bit, maybe if I dip my toe into it and just kind of see like, you know, what'll happen. And then come to find out when you do explore those things, more often than not, the things that we tend to fear are the very things we need to face in order to, you know, progress in life or, you know, in general.
Right.
And so
love it.
So yeah. So
thank you for that. Y'all are helping me tonight because, you know, sometimes we learn from another. We learn from each other. I said this yesterday, and I was discussing what social and emotional learning is. How many of us know what social and emotional learning is? Social and emotional learning does not start when we are in high school. It starts from birth throughout your entire lifespan. And sometimes we learn more from the people that we see. We learn more from our connections. We learn more with how we interact. I'm literally learning a lot just from what you guys are saying tonight. So I thank you so much for being able to continue to empower me to break out of some of my fears that I still have. So let's shift it a little bit. So we talk about freedom, right? This is the theme of this show. We are in part 2, and we talk about freedom. Freedom is the power or right to act or speak or think or want, and freedom is not being in bondage. I want to start here, and I want to look at the box that has Justin in it. You did a powerful message to us on last show that we did on part 1. You talked about your story. You talked about how you let things go. Okay, I see Mr. Nichols. He said, fear sometimes can cause you not to grow. That is so true, sir. Very powerful. And as we talk about freedom, as we talk about being able to free ourselves of those things that we hold so dear to us, when you gave your story to us last week, and I do want to say I respect you and thank you for being very transparent and all of that. When you gave us your story and we talk about what freedom looks like, can you make it plain for someone that is listening on tonight? What does freedom look like for you? And when you begin to accept where you were and how you have come out of that, how was freedom with that as well?
I mean, for me, like with freedom, I guess, you know, basically when I gave you in transparency what happened, it was like a big boulder was taken off of my shoulders. You know, it gave me an opportunity to just stand upright, and I could look forward and not have to look down and feel like I have all this pressure on me and I can't get it off. You know what I mean? I feel that for anyone that's going through that, just understand that yes, it's hard, but you don't let it defeat you. You know what I mean? Because if you let it defeat you, you're going to go through life thinking that everything is hard, everything is complicated. It is, but there's ways of handling it. You know what I mean? Right. For me, I've just learned that I don't have control of everything. Right. You know what I mean? Whatever happens, it happened for a reason. You know, right. And I've learned to accept it. You know, and I just try to figure out ways to move forward and save my mental capacity, because I know that I can't continue to walk in that path because it's a dark path and there's no light there. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay where the light is so that way I can see clearly, I can think, I can, you know, just be at ease whenever a situation happens, and I can handle it better. Right. Because otherwise before it was just like I'm in my head the entire time. I don't know how to handle it. Now I'm sitting, you know, I might be sitting in my office and I'm just thinking, I'm looking out the window, and it just keeps replaying in my head over and over again. And I don't want that to happen anymore. You know what I mean? I feel as we get older, we have to just understand that, like I said, we don't have control over things. I'm not saying you just get over it in 24 hours either. Right. For me, I process it. I think about what happened, and then now I got to focus on, okay, what can I do to make it better? You know, and make myself better.
Right. And Justin, I do want to say to you that when you gave your story on last week, we were so cramped for time, and we were trying to say all those great things that support you. But what I want to do tonight, because this is June, is Men's Health, right? It's about the brothers, it's about the men. We celebrate a lot of things. Is there anybody that is on this panel? Are there any words of encouragement or empowerment that any one of you would like to share to Justin? Because we do this thing that's called Encompass Our Brothers, right? We encompass them. We are supportive of our brothers. Is there anyone that would like to just jump in real quick and just like say something to Justin to let him know that we got him, even though that we are on screen, but we also got him off screen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll jump in, no problem. You know, I got your back. You know, it's a phone call away. I'll pull up. You know how that go. And I think, and I think you did something that's brave. You let people know that it's okay and to expose. Like, now we're not perfect at all, and I hold ask up, and I don't need to share. I don't need to like make it look like I'm not going through something. It's no. That levee is breaking, and it's just broke. It's hard. Like it's hard. So I definitely appreciate you, and like you know how long we've been rocking together. So I definitely got your back, and I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
I'll say something too. I don't know. Like when it comes to being vulnerable, like it's something that I feel like it's long overdue for, you know, a lot of people, especially Black men, and knowing that, you know, it's okay. You know, like it's like you'd be surprised how liberating it being like, you know, opening that dam up can be, because it's so much of a burden to kind of hold things in and walk around with a chip on your shoulder, you know, and as scary as it is, and this is going back to what I mentioned earlier about how the things we fear most are some of the things that we need to do the most. And one of the things we need to do is just learn how to just, you know, come and just like lay it bare, so that way we can be lighter, we can be free of like those burdens, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And to my listening audience, this is why I did this, right? We sometimes hear something and we hear it, but we never really take the time, sometimes me, to listen to what's being said and give people that understanding that I hear you, I support you. Just imagine that we got our homeboys in our lives and they tell us, yo, this girl just made me mad, my homie just pissed me off, all of that. And we hear it, but all we do is hear it. And so what I did tonight is to let us know sometimes it's okay to just stop and just take some time to let someone else know that I see you, I respect you, and I'm here for you. How many times do we take it out of our busy schedules to just stop the action and check on people? And I'm learning that in my own personal therapy sessions that I have to also sometimes stop, Thomas, and check on myself first, and then check on those that are connected with me. And so I wanted to model that because, again, for social emotional learning, when we know better, we what? We do better.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. All right.
I will say, let me say one more thing too. And
yes, sir.
I think a lot of times we forget these two things too. We hear each other, but we don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can hear all day with what you're saying, but to actually listen and take into consideration or take heed to what I did say, speak volumes, it makes a big difference. So, you know, to audience, you know, all men that are listening or watching this, you know, I do say listen to. You might hear things that's going on with you, but just take time to sit there and just listen to it. Listen to your body. Listen to how it feels right now. Does it feel okay? Do you know what I mean? And it gives you the opportunity to understand that, hey, I might not be okay, or I might not be okay physically. So this is giving me the opportunity now, like, okay, what do I do to fix it?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Can I throw something in, Thomas? I'm just gonna turn the whole table over. One of the things that I learned during COVID is that the rules are really fake. And a lot of things that were holding me bondage, a lot of the things that I was subscribing to, a lot of things I was holding myself to were things that people in real life really don't even hold themselves to.
Right.
So when I started doing things like really checking in with myself, when I really stopped holding on to people who ain't holding on to me, when I stopped laughing at things that really weren't funny, when I started admitting, you know what, I really don't have all of this together, let me go and get some help so I can get it together, and I started doing those things, I noticed that started making me feel good. When I stopped trying to act like I had it all together. And I say that because, you know, and I've got some good fraternity brothers on the line here. One of the things that I stopped doing was I stopped competing in, you know, outwardly or secretly with anybody, and just say, you know what, this is where I am. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I need to do to go forward. And I stopped subscribing or even started separating myself, because I realized that a lot of this pressure that I was putting myself under, no one was making me do that. I was doing that to myself. And that's why I said a lot of the things that we're saying, a lot of the things that got us stressed out, we stressed out because we want to be stressed out. We're not stressed out because we need to be. So I just need to turn that table over real quick and just say, bruh, rules of fate, do you.
Can I want to join in on that too?
I gotta say you too.
Oh yeah. No. So like to jump on from the other side with that is not only are the rules fake, like I also walked away from like the whole gender norms and society stereotypes and like all of the things that we supposed to do. And I was just like, I could care less about any of that. Like, especially when it came down to the point of like, I would ask like, why do I got to do that? Or like, it don't make sense. Like only a man has to be a certain way. Who told you that? Like, and it's just like, once you stop checking in that way, then one of my friends told me, it's actually one of my older sisters. It was like all the deadlines you put are on yourself. Nobody gave you those deadlines. Nobody said that you got to put this episode out by this. No, nobody said that. Like people who are watching you and they'll wait, but like, life is life, and it's like you shouldn't wait till you have everything together to just actually smile and have fun. Like, no, by the time you get there, like I stopped falling in love with the journey, and because it's like traveling. If I'm traveling from here to Cali, right? Like, and I'm only gonna celebrate when I get to Cali, you didn't miss almost 1,000 miles of beautifulness. And now it's like, yo, by the time you get to the journey, all you're doing is reflecting back on everything that you missed. So now I'm in tune with like every step of the journey. I'm celebrating everything. Like I could care less what it is. I don't care if you colored in the line, celebration. Because you gotta learn to celebrate every single step of the way, because the journey gonna get there. You're gonna get there regardless if you keep going. But every footstep you take, celebrate, enjoy it, because there's one footstep that you don't have to take, like that you have. So listen.
Let me throw the other table over. I'm realizing that many of us can't celebrate what's going good in someone else's life.
Come on now.
Because the people who God sent in your life for you to inspire you, you started using their success to be jealous of them.
Yep.
Now I said something right
there. When you telling somebody else,
when I started, and I'm gonna use Thomas for example, because Thomas left his job and started a business and all of that sort of stuff. This healed place that I am, I can look at what Thomas has done and use that as motivation and use that as inspiration. The Brashawn 5 years ago would have been jealous and would have been silently hating on him and laughing and grinning in his face, but really couldn't stand him. But this healed person says, you know what? I see him doing it. That means I can go get it. That means that if I discipline myself and put myself in the right place, and then I can move forward. But I say all of this because the rules are fake, and to stop hating on people who have been put in front of you to inspire you, not for you to compete with them. And that will help a lot of Black men feel better.
Oh yeah.
Brashawn, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say something.
Go ahead, Terrence. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, Brashawn. Brashawn, I'm gonna say this. You win. You dropped the most gems. You dropped more than Sonic and Hedgehog, man.
we gonna mute Brashawn right quick, because I'm telling you, Brashawn, Herman, just Go ahead, brother.
And Rashawn, though, he forewarned us. He said he was about to knock both tables over. So he
did.
He ain't lying. He said he was knocking them joints over. But nah, just hearing all you guys speak and share your experiences and your insight. It took me to one of my good friends, Coach O. He may be watching, right? He like a real stoic guy. Don't really show a lot of emotion. He kind of remind me of you a little bit, Justin. He kind of remind me a little bit, real cool. He like my rock. But he told me something one time that just stuck with me more recent. Like enjoy the experience more so than the destination. Like a lot of times, like I have this. Like I'm not even gonna lie, I'm a competitive person, and I try to make it healthy competition. But I'm focused on my goals. But he keeps me grounded in terms of like understanding that it's an experience. Stuff gonna happen, like the old town, like Ash happens, like stuff like that gonna happen.
Right.
And then going back to the original question when you talked about freedom, Rashawn, I ain't gonna lie, that's probably would be one of my captions for the next thing. Like the rules is fake. I'm probably gonna steal that, but man, I love me some me. Like the bad, the good, the ugly, the stuff that I might, you know what I mean? That's part of the experience too. Like just loving you some you, man. Like it's only one you. You're not human. The life was here before you got here. It's gonna be here when you dead and gone. So that's my 2 cents that I would add to the freedom component.
I think that like the freedom piece that you just said is like when you love you, people are so mad about that. I ain't gonna flip a table. I'm gonna just add some paper to the pile. Like because I realized, and when I walked away from all of that, like so I got diagnosed with formal autism 2 years ago, and when I started hearing people, they'd be like, "Oh, you're autistic. You don't look autistic," and it's like, "Well, what does that mean?" Like, I didn't even like. What? And then I started realizing just how wired people are to believe anything that they hear, see, or being told. And when I started realizing, when I walked away and I started doing things because I wanted to and stopped letting people use me, I realized people don't like you not because of you. They like you because you have so much courage to do the things that they want to do that they choose not to do because they put themselves in this box of listening to other people. It's like, nah, I choose to love me out loud. You don't like me? I didn't ask you to. Like you can leave. I like what I'm doing. Oh, you just yeah, I'm celebrating. I put a lot of work into me. I love me. You know how long it took me to love me? Or when I see brothers loving on themselves or loving on their loving on their brothers, I was like, yo, keep going, because you don't know how hard, or like when most men get into this place of like extreme calmness, you don't know how much darkness they had to go through to get to that state of calmness. And a lot of men who are extremely nice and smiley, they usually had the worst pain that they had to go through to get to that and still maintain it, because you have to maintain it. You're not healing. I mean, you're healed, but you're still healing because you can still be triggered. And the conscious effort of healing means that, no, I'm still triggered. I just know how to not just react, because people only see reactions. They never want to address their actions. And the moment that you address actions, it's, oh, you're the bad guy. No, I'm just conscious enough to see that you are just not really accepting your own accountability, but you're willing to preach it and point that finger. And you're using a lot of therapy terms and never been in that one therapy session. But, you know, I just tend to walk away.
Let me stand up on that. Let me stand up on that one.
Because last time I checked, my therapist told me a lot of things, and I'm actually in therapy. And a lot of people, they want to seem like they in therapy, but they ain't doing the work. You can tell and look at a person when they've done the work, because it shows, and then you can feel it. My aura hit different, not because I don't like you. I just choose my peace over you. I choose happiness over history. I choose everything. And the fact of the matter is, me and my wife were having a conversation yesterday, and she said one of the realest things ever was just like, I clap for people because I genuinely want them to win. People clap for me because they are genuinely hating behind me, just saying, oh, good job. Nah, I genuinely clap for you because I want you to win. When it's my time, it's my time. And when it's my time, I'm putting the foot on the gas. But genuinely clap for people because you want them to clap for people, not because that's just what it is behind that. So people you just keep being you. And I realize the more that you love on you out loud, it makes people so much madder. Because they can't do it. So if they can't do it, I'm still gonna do it. I'm gonna do it every time.
Yeah.
Listen, to my listening audience, this is why these are my boys. This is why every last one of these fellas are my boys, because they come from all different walks of life and they tell it like it is, and y'all are hitting it. John, what's up?
Well, this is what just came to my mind, right? So we talked about the fact that some people, when you live in your best life, some people are going to hate on you and they're going to, be not wanting you to succeed behind the scenes and may just, put a front on in front of your face, right? True. I also do believe at the same time that there is a group of people that you will reach when you do the work, when you live the life that you're supposed to live, when you come into a place of self-acceptance and self-love to another level. They're going to be individuals that see that, and that's going to encourage them and show them what that looks like. It's going to be the model that they need to see it. Somebody hit me up a couple weeks ago on a Facebook post. Somebody, someone I worked with a long time ago, and she was commenting on a post I had made. She said, sometimes the best sermons are the ones not that we hear, but the ones that we see. And she said, I feel like right now you're living the sermon that we all need to see. And I said, for me, clearly, I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to be as healthy as possible and live my best life. And I realized that what I am projecting for some people is giving them the freedom to be able to do that as well. And I think that's where, when we always talk about like responsibility to other people and helping other people. Sometimes it's not about what you're telling somebody. It's not about what you're giving them. It's what you're showing them, what you're modeling for them to then go and be their best selves, for them to live their best life possible. So I agree, right? On one side, you got the haters, but there's a whole group of people. And sometimes we don't even put the attention on them because we don't even see them or know them, but know that there's somebody watching you, somebody who is looking at you as a role model. And when you live the life that you're supposed to live, when you're doing the things you're supposed to do and you believe in yourself, that's going to give them the encouragement for them to believe in themselves.
Can I knock over one more table?
Do it.
Then I'm turning it to. Then I'm putting you on mute, and I'm going to Terrence. Yes.
One more. What God has for you is for you. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can block it. Nobody can slow it down. And the only person who can do that is you. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna use Thomas again because he inspires people he doesn't even know. A lot of the things that are like we see him, walking and doing some things. But one thing he is he's authentic and he's self-aware. And so when people hate on him, I'm like, why are you hating on him? Because he is self-aware and he walks in his awareness. So what I mean by that, so then what I'm watching is years of walking, sometimes even alone, and now it's his set time because this is what God had for him. So what I'm saying about all of us that we all need to pay attention to is if we are authentic, if we're real, if we check into ourselves, if we let go of the things that don't matter, it is an act of faith of understanding that if I just move forward, if I just do what I know I'm supposed to be doing, even though I don't have a sign, even though I don't have a feeling, because I believe my new morning affirmation is what God has for me is for me, and can't nobody stop it. The only person who can stop it is me. And so these men who are on this panel, I think all of us are getting to this place of self-awareness where it's like, you know what, the only person I'm really in competition with is me. All I got to do is I allow other folk to inspire me, but I am my own competition, me versus me. Now I'm muting myself on.
Let me just say this real quick. I want people to know that therapy does not have to be a badge of honor. It's a resource to freedom.
That's good.
It's not a badge of honor. It's a resource to freedom because I guarantee you the freedom that I get every time I do speak to my therapist, I feel like things are just lifting off of me. And I feel like those shackles that were on me at that particular time, they're breaking piece by piece. And I'm actually trying to become a better person.
Yo, let me just say this to our listening audience. If you have not done so, get a therapist. And when I mean get a therapist, get more than just say my therapist said.
Yeah.
Pay your copay, sit in a Zoom, talk physically with a therapist. That will be the best way for you to find freedom. I also just want to say this, Rashawn, I thank you so much for your kind words. And the reason why I thank you is because I am a person that is authentically myself. Am I perfect? No. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Am I continuing to be better than what I was before? Yes. And I can tell you this one thing. Herman and I talk a lot about this in the office. Herman is my mentee, and I am Herman's mentee. We mentor each other, and iron sharpens iron.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Herman knows he can call me at the middle. Herman told me one day, yo, I'm messed up, bro. I'm messed up. I had lost about it in my family, blah, 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 blah. I got you. And that's what brotherhood is about. Mm-hmm. Brotherhood is not about me telling him, oh, I got your paycheck. No, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. When I don't hear from Herman Frazier, what do I do, Herman? You good? What's up?
Yeah.
How many times do we check on each other? John, I check on him, and we got this little running joke. I text him in the middle of the day, yo, we got to talk. Mm-hmm. Damil sends me his podcast. I listen to his podcast. I literally told Justin the other day, what, brother? I love you.
Yeah.
How many times do we not tell each other that we love them? Because we're not in this world alone. So much so, Rashawn didn't even know I was going to do this. But Rashawn made a post the other day, and that thing had tears in my eyes, and he solidified with what he said today. Rashawn, I'm going to tell you something, bro. This is why I know we don't ever talk 24/7. We barely talk on the phone, but we always are connected, and I'm always indebted to you. And I'm going to tell you why, because you solidified what I wrote down here today. You made a Facebook post the other day, and your Facebook post said, there is a new level of attack has been because a new level is coming.
Yeah.
You didn't even know where I was even going to go with that quote. And I'm saying to all of my 6 brothers here on this Zoom, and Daryl in the back as a producer, a new opportunity is coming for every one of us on the screen. Why is it coming? Because we are transparent. We have the passion. We have the charisma. We have the education. We have the love. And we can admit to each other that we are not in competition with nobody here on the screen.
That's right. All right. Before you, because I feel like I let everybody speak, but now I got to put my 2 cents before you wrap up. All right. So before my parting words will be this: stop believing that everybody's life is a highlight reel, and stop thinking that your life is just behind the scenes.
That's right.
So the fact of the matter is that we all got one life to live, and only thing we have in common with each other is that all our lives it's come one day where that life is going to stop. Let that be enough to give you the freedom to live your life as you see fit, that makes you the most happy, the most healthy, and whatever you can fit into it all in between. All right. So everybody has it behind the scenes. Everybody has their highlight reels, just like with the movies. We go to movies, we see the finished product, we're entertained by it. But what we tend to overlook a lot is the months or even years of like editing, the producing, the writing, the hard work from like the crew and the actors, the countless hours of like staying up like late night into the early morning filming and shooting, and all stuff that came together to make this finished product. And conceptually speaking, that is how everybody should live their life too. Is that everybody's had work to do. Everybody's had something that they've had to overcome. They've had to kind of sacrifice, cut out, and then present to the world as a finished product. It didn't just come that way. And so don't base it based on what you see on social media or what you see in public, because you never know like what people have to go through to get to that point of happiness. Like Damil said before, he's choosing happiness over history. And that speaks a lot, because we all have history and we all can choose to either move past it or be bogged down by it. So you make a choice, and the choice is yours.
Yeah. Herman, your 3 seconds final statement.
Be yourself while learning yourself. Be yourself.
Love it.
Be yourself while learning yourself.
Love it. Damil, Your final statement. 3 seconds.
God always got you through it, so keep going through.
Love it. John, talk to us.
Be authentically you, because everyone's opinion is going to change, but you have to live with you.
Rashawn.
Invest in yourself.
And Justin.
Don't be afraid to take chances. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
And I'm going to say this last piece, and this word is called fail. And I heard this yesterday. If you look at the word fail, look at it like this. There is your failure, and your fail is your first attempt in learning. Fail. First attempt in learning. Don't allow your first attempt to keep us from learning. Brothers, I love you from the bottom of my heart. God knows I do. You all touch me in every aspect of my life. I am not who I am because of you guys. You, my family, my loved ones, my baby, everybody that is involved in my life, you all are shaping me to step out into what Rashawn said the other day, to that new level. And I want you all to know, don't stop living your dreams and live for you. This is Thomas Davis. As we close out a season, what better way to close out season with telling you to keep living your life, and what Rashawn says, the rules are what?
Fake.
Stop living for fake people. Thank you all so much for joining the show. This has been an amazing season. Stay tuned. I will be back in the fall. I'm giving y'all a break, y'all. But fellas, I'm working on a grant, and we're going to take this on the road.
Yes, let's get it.
Let's do this. All right, y'all. This is Limitless signing out as we move mountains and break those barriers. Peace.
Yeah.
My heart vast in blackness, defined by our past, persevere through the obstacles, pain and our laughter, but let me get back to what matters. Cap up my brother, no reason to clap him. Uplift my kinfolk, we shooting for Saturn. No one left behind when we climbing this ladder. My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see. Feel all the power that lies within thee. Black kings and queens who we will and shall be. Know that we bleed and breathe royalty. Love with the loyalty glow got me loving myself. Black skin my cover is hugging myself. Live for the mental and spiritual weapon.